like it has to do with nurture and understanding, like having a multifaceted view about what nurture is. And that what we metabolize, it's not only food and proteins and carbs and fats. Like what we metabolize, it's everything we think, it's everything we ingest. It's not only our family members, but it's even what we see and feel when we walk down the street. So having that awareness that energy can be taken or given or taken from anything that is in our awareness. And then maybe also choosing where do we want to be when we get stuck in the shadow, knowing that our needs might actually have been influenced or shadowed by that shadow frequency. So what we feel that we need when we are in the shadow frequencies, that we can look at not only the purpose sphere, any shadow frequencies in our chart, when we are there, to be just aware that maybe what we think we need is not what we need, to really kind of tune into pausing before eating or pausing before whatever that we do in order to not have to feel. And I think I feel like the six line body is actually telling us to be with it. And that's what we spoke about before recording. Can you be with it? Because then something else is going to come through. And I feel like that's why you and I, in this moment of everything that's going on in the world, we were saying, usually these days we haven't been eating until 12 or 2, and it's not even the same thing we always eat. And so it's something like when you can just pause and wait for your antennas, the intent, the endocrine. There's like the six line body has antennas, and it doesn't want to get clogged down. It wants to have clarity, and then it knows what to take in. So that pause, I feel, is always important, because the six line is patience, it's space, and that's how it nurtures. And for the six line, I also feel like what we were saying, the merging with the other has to be in awareness. It's not something that can be done, or it can be done, but it's probably something that the vehicle is not going to like if it's done without awareness. So we can choose to say, my endocrine system needs stimulation. I have tenderness with this person, and this is what I need right now. When we look at it from another perspective, it might be like we're growing apart as, the way that we see a vision in the same direction. So the six line radiance is nurture, and it is all about being, as a 4-6, being with people, community, kinship, where we see a joint direction. That's what's going to nurture our vision. That's what's going to nurture our body. So when you are a six line being that is not surrounded by people, environment, and situations that nurture your vision, you're not going to be in core stability. You're not going to be grounded in your purpose. You're not going to feel home in your body. So know that even if you might choose to eat the ice cream or choose to have that interaction, if it's something that in the long run is not looking at that trajectory that is going towards your vision and direction, then probably you want to ask yourself if it's there to be consumed every day. That's how I feel. And probably too, and this is the kind of a last little word, six line bodies, stop being judgmental for the other lines. That's what I feel like. Remember, we have to speak with all the lines. You don't get the last say. This is just one fractal.
Right. What an amazing way that you brought together in a real pragmatic way for people who want to go on this journey with us to understand what the archetype of the six line body was saying and really make it real for all of us six line bodies. So thank you for that. It was fun.
And also, I need to say something, because we brought in sexuality. I think when you watch this, and when you watch, if we do the other ones, also look at your sphere of attraction. Because for me, since I'm a six line in both, it's like, for me, those two archetypes, like the attraction archetype and the body, they're just speaking to each other. And in your cases, it might not be that. So I can hear that we want to bring in, especially when we speak about the communion, it's also part of bringing in. So maybe you feel like in some ways you're really resonating with me, and if in some you're not, might mean you're a six line body but not a six line attraction. So I even feel like that's something in the other where we want to have more clarity, and where it's not like completely evident to bring them together. For my vehicle it was, but that's just making that discernment.
Well, I'm so glad you said that, because I kept hearing, ask her about I was being told to ask you about the gene key profile, but I didn't know how to ask it. And that was the question that needed to be asked, is what other key in our own profiles would we go to? So for instance, in my attractor, I'm a 3, so I'm a 6, but then a 3. So what might, in terms of being a 6 with a 3 in my attractor, could you give us an example of how that might, that a 3-line attractor field might affect what just came through in this transmission?
I mean, for you, because I know your inner marriage and you have a third line there about playfulness, and I feel like, it also weaves in here. You have a third line already in that kind of seed, sexuality energy. So your attraction is just saying, for you, that playfulness is important, the humor. And that is probably what you need to ingest the most in communion. It's that playfulness. It's always going to be there, both in the innermost seed, but also in what you are here to attract and what you're here to play with. So there is a playfulness to you that it always has to be there. It can be sacred. It wants to be sacred. It wants to have vision. It wants to have all that. But it's also this humor that is never lost. Even if and that's also why I feel like you have been nurturing the same relationship, and there is still this the playfulness never dies, and that's how the third line attraction would nurture. The playfulness is not going to die if it's nurtured correctly.